Chase Thomas podcast. My nephew needs me to record. See, I already hate it. I hate it.
All right, hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Chase Down Block here on the Chase Thomas podcast, where I'm still the aforementioned Chase Thomas, coming to you live from Knoxville, Tennessee, Everything School HQ. It's Chase Down Block Tuesday night, so you know what that means. My good friend Corban Ford over there in the Rockies of Round Ball Ramble Swish Theory Basketball Intelligence. Corban, good evening, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well, my friend. Okay, a little tired, a little beat up right now, but I'm good. Just getting used to this Rocky Mountain weather. But aside from that, I'm like my Lakers. We're hovering around 500.
You are hovering around 500. A team that's not hovering around 500, and he's a fan of because they're getting healthy at the right time. They're fun. It's Kenny Spence of Playoff Foul. Kenny, good evening, sir. How are you?
I'm good, man. My team's won 8 of the last 10. We'll talk about them later, though. I'm just glad to be here. It's been kind of similar to Corban. Very exhausted, but we'll get through it.
I feel weird because this is like the least exhausted I've been in months because I'm in between starting a new position. So this week I've kind of had an off week, so I've not had this much sleep in like free time. So I'm reading and watching a bunch of tape. Like I'm over here grinding Knicks Pistons at like 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, oh, nice. This was back in my bartending days when I was able to do that before going to shifts, and it feels weird. I have not had this much clarity and free time, and I feel like everybody else is just a different end. So I feel guilty, but I appreciate you guys powering through, and we'll make this happen because there's a lot of fun NBA stuff we get to talk about tonight. So starting things off though, Corban, I thought this was interesting, and the NBA is apparently looking at how they can fix offenses, and not that offenses are struggling, that offenses are doing too much. And Joe Dumars spoke about this a little bit, saying that, quote, it is a topic that we're monitoring, and we're diving in right now to make sure that we're on the right side of this. So here's the thing. I didn't realize the league-wide offensive rating at this point is now 115 points per 100 possessions. And when he came in, it was 105 points per 100 possessions. So 10-point swing, it seems like it's only going to continue to rise with teams getting more and more efficient. Is there anything the NBA can do when you hear that they're looking at this and there's a way to get around this? Or do you think that's just the modern game and this is just kind of something that they have to live with and the product's fine either way? Where do you stand on this?
I mean, I definitely don't think it's fine either way. Like I think, they call the NBA game a product. The product is expired. Like this ain't it. Like I think the easiest way is to just go back to defensive principles and promoting those. You've given the offensive leeway just so much. I remember it feels like it's about as bad as it was back when James Harden could just throw his way to the free throw line, back in 2016, 2017, like that's all he would do. That stupid shot fake and bump into the guy was a thing, and it's bad. Like it's a thing. So like, no, go back to defense. Like put the principles of it there. The same thing that you try to teach in grade school, that you're teaching in high school. That's a thing in college. Like all of a sudden the NBA things are just different. So no, I think you need to go back to that. I think when it comes to the charge circle, maybe make it a little bit bigger. I'm tired of people like Kevin Love today. I'm sorry, Kenny, but that was just nasty. Like the whole like getting it, and it's not even a Heat thing. It's a Kevin Love thing. He's done this for years. Like sliding under at the very last minute where nothing good comes out of that. Nothing good comes out of that. But that's defense. Like I hate Kevin Love for doing it because he definitely waits. He's on the longer end of the spectrum of like the last minute to do it. Honestly, ironically, LeBron is like right before him. But like that's defense for them because there is no other defense, and that's their value on the court when you're a 35-plus-year-old player, that has value on the offensive end but can't stick anyone defensively, get stuck on a switch. You only got the charge. That's ridiculous, and they probably won't do nothing until Anthony Edwards is down for like 20 games or whatever. But like at the end of the day, going back to defense, I think is the big thing, and that just means that the flopping, the flailing for calls. Come on now, like you got one job. Look at the film, like go from the top down. And say, okay, this is what works and this is what doesn't, and find the balance. Because you don't have to be 1987, but dang sure can't be 2024. Like you got to tweak those sliders a little bit. But right now, no, I think it's just about making sure the defender gets their entitlement to space and their entitlement to actually do their job. Otherwise, we saw at the All-Star game, we saw with these 150, 160 games. Like at some point, it's kind of fun, high scoring, lots of threes, but like no, like there's no resistance. It's like I'm eating plain potato chips for food. Like, I'm getting full, but what am I actually eating?
What do you think, Kenny?
So all they have to really do is just implement, well, not even implement, enforce the rule they already put in a couple of years ago after the USA went out in international play, and I won't say got embarrassed, but definitely looked at sideways when they were trying to bait for fouls and it wasn't getting called over there. They implemented the rule already to where if you jump into somebody, it's an offensive foul, but they just went away from it after like 20 games. And so they can actually enforce that. And I don't know how great of an idea this would be, but you know how like in high school and college there's the 5-second rule to where if you can't get past your man or whatever it is and he's sticking on you for 5 seconds, it's a turnover. I wonder if that would help because there is a whole lot of just dribbling for no reason also. And so I feel like if that could help a little bit, but the main thing is just actually enforcing the rule they put in a couple years ago because that was a great 20 games and then they just stopped.
I also wonder the shot diet, which is shots at the rim, 3-pointers. Nick Nurse talked about it. It's just that everyone around the league that's what they're living off of. That's their main course. That a lot of those mid-range shots, that a lot of those, I mean, hey, we're going to slow it down. We're going to drag this out. The Aaron Aflalo types are gone. And I think one of the issues that the league is going to run into is you brought in a bunch of guys who now play this way. Like the league is just, you have so many guys who are taught this way that if you do want to try and change things a little bit, it's going to be years of painful adjustments to that. And you're going to have to attract different kinds of players. I think when you get rid of the veterans, like you have a lot of those vets, like just don't play a certain way. And you're more likely going to work with, hey, we can get a 23-year-old G League guy who can play the way we want to play in the modern game. Like that's something I think that's also revved up scoring is you have a lot of guys who are kind of like mercenaries in the way that they play. And you don't have a lot of those vets who slow things down and play a different kind of brand of basketball. The biggest thing though, outside of the shot diet, I think you're looking, I mean, how many NBA fans right now are really loving officiating this season? If the NBA directs officials and we start changing the rule book back to allowing defenses to be able to do more against offensive players, we see how much guys flail around now. Yeah. If they go back the other way, the league is littered with superstar offensive players. If they start not getting those calls to an egregious extent because we are making a point to try and limit scoring and give defense some juice again, I think that's going to be uncomfortable tidal wave the league's going to have to deal with for years because those guys are not used to playing that way. It hurts their numbers. It hurts their bottom line. Like if you're going to switch back to that gradually, I think it's going to be a lot more painful than I think a lot of folks might expect. And especially the superstars in this league, because they're not going to do well early on to that kind of change because they play a certain way and you push back against that. It's going to be rough.
Well, it has to be. Like, it's been rough seeing it as it is right now, right? Like, rude awakening. Sorry. Like, actually, I'm not even sorry. Like, I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, it has to be done. Because right now, I mean, we saw 2019, 2020 when, you know, remember James Harden was frustrated. Yeah, in between the trade demand and the out of shape. Like, he was flailing for calls he wasn't getting anymore. Now it's kind of rectified. He's toned it down a bit, actually. But it's also kind of evened out in his favor again. But yeah, Trae Young and James Harden were having a mess of it to the point the national media attention were all over it for those two. And it was other guys too, but those were the biggest, you know, violators of that. So no,
I mean, Trae was becoming an all-time villain with his. Like Trae was pissing off everybody.
He was selling out shamelessly. Yeah, it wasn't even. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's smart. It was nasty. Like you said, straight selling out. But like the point being is like it has to be that way because this ain't it. It just isn't. And then what? The playoffs come and the intensity raises defensively, and they're still fouls. You know what I mean? Like you calling fouls for over aggressive play now. Like there has to be. Sometime maybe right now this season it's a wash. It is what it is. Like I don't think this season is going to be. They're not going to all of a sudden in April be like, okay, now we got rules in place. It's going to be something we see next season, more than likely during summer league, you know, and then preseason. But it needs to be rectified. That's it. I mean, you have people. I mean, there was, mind you, the Charlotte Hornets beat the Blazers, I think 93-80. Not saying got to be that. Also, Portland was one of 20. They were one of their first 26 from three. So that helps them do that. But the point being is like these, I love a good, you know, blowout game. I love a good high scoring game, but come on now. Like what happened to the Michael Coopers? You know what I mean? on the Larry Birds, the forever and ever list of Jordan stoppers, right? Gerald Wilkins, shout out to Gerald Wilkins. Remember him back in the day?
Mhm.
Like, that's what he was known for, right? Dominique Wilkins was scoring, Gerald Wilkins was a lockdown guy who can hit a corner three, the actual 3-and-D, right? So, like, where did these guys go? The Shane Battiers, the Doug Christies, like all these defensive-minded guys. Now we got like, I don't know. I'm not gonna disrespect. You know what I mean, though. Like we've fallen off.
Even Andre Robertson, gone.
Even Andre Robertson, and Andre Robertson was more of a casualty of this type of style, where it's like, oh, you need to give some value offensively, which is true. Can't be a total negative. All those guys I mentioned before, they could fill the cup in some ways. But like you're right, going back to that, like I don't know, we have buckets on every team, and it's great. We don't have anyone who stops, and even the best guys are cross-matching the least dangerous guy on the other team. Like, I'm not expecting Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to be like, all right, I got you, Dame. I'm not expecting that. I'm not expecting, I don't know, Luka Doncic to be like, okay, Trae Young, you're mine. That makes zero sense. But like at the same time, like, defense. I don't know. I'm sorry, I went on a rant there.
Well, so to the point about the playoffs, we actually talked about this on Playoff Hour a couple episodes ago. What happens a lot of times in the playoffs is those cheap calls don't really happen anymore because they let them be more physical. So then you have, if you notice, Trae Young struggles in the playoffs, James Harden struggles in the playoffs a lot of times because now they have to readjust their game. So instead of having a full season of having to score in ways that would make sense and score through physicality, they're getting every single call in the regular season. And it ends up kind of messing up the product because now you got your star players with this stain on their reputation because they can't get it done in the playoffs. But a lot of them not being able to get it done in the playoffs is them not being able to get those calls they were selling out for all season.
It's playing a different game, and you're like, well, what? Yeah, that's I agree. I'm curious if they do something. I don't know. It seems like we're reaching a tipping point, but I also I don't know. We'll have to see if they do something in that regard. Kenny, are you a fan of the new Clippers branding?
So I really like the red jersey.
Mm-hmm.
It reminds me of the '96 Olympics jersey, the Penny Hardaway Shaq with him team. I like that.
I didn't even thought about that.
Yeah. The navy blue one is fine. The white one is fine. I hate the logo though.
Do you?
I hate the logo. It kind of looks like a standardized test or like a notary stamp. Like I
can't unsee the SB Nation logo. What they were talking about when someone said it looks like an SB Nation blog. I can't unsee that now, unfortunately. But I mean, it has character. At least there's something. Like, oh, it's a Clipper. It's a ship. At least it's something now that separates itself.
But the thing is, it's ever since they went away from the jerseys of the Elton Brand, Darius Miles, Lamar Odom days. They have a long history of just awful uniforms.
Yeah.
And so I like that they're taking a step, especially with them going into a new arena. It was about time, but it's just still the red one's fine. I like the red one. The other two are okay. It's the logo I'm following with, basically.
I like the blue too. I think the blue the white's pretty boring, but I think it's fine. Like I think it's better than what they had, right? Like it's all you want to do. You want to upgrade in some way. I mean, Corban, I know they're the baby brother to you over there in Lakerland, but do you like these new uniforms for the Clippers? No.
I don't. I mean, I didn't mind the 2019-2020 ones, right? Like the C.
Which ones are those?
Because I don't like knowing that the Clippers, like I don't like knowing the actual logo. Like I don't know. Like there was one on Twitter I thought was funny where they just took a picture of like actual like hair clippers and just did the logo. Like I don't know. I was good with just the C. I was good with the old fashioned, cursive Los Angeles Clippers, with the basketball. Like I don't see the need to change things just for changing sake. No one looked at that and went, "Ooh, that Clippers logo ugly as hell. Like let's switch it up." Like it was okay. It was a logo. Look at it, LAC. I kind of know what that means. So like seeing this now, like I get it. New arena, change. But I'm not a fan of it. Like you said, it definitely screams SB Nation like affiliate to me. And like,
which is okay. There were some good ones there. I don't know. I don't hate it. I think they look clean. I also never understood the black and white that they've introduced. Like that never felt Clippers-y to me.
Right.
Like it was just really weird, like out of left field, right? Like y'all didn't. It just seemed weird. Like you'd have to.
Clips, yeah, what were they trying to go for there? Like
You're not cool. Like it was just a
No,
weird trying to be
really
cool thing.
ain't.
I didn't, and just the black and white. I'm like this.
Like the San Andreas font.
Yeah, I never liked it.
That's somebody up in Oklahoma, like, yeah, that'll hit well with our perfect, our urban, what's it called? Our projection.
Urban demographic.
Exactly. Like I thought it was okay. It just didn't feel right for them. Then again, it didn't feel right for any NBA team in my mind. Like, I'm not sure what team I think of, like, oh yeah, that would work. You know what I mean?
I don't even like the Nets black and white. Like I miss the old Nets stuff. It's just so bland.
The 90s Nets was incredible. The
Yes.
Drazen Petrovic teams,
the popsicle colors.
Yeah, I like those.
I like those.
But are y'all a big believer where like I'm a big believer in like, hey, if you're like the Bucks, right? When people like love the creamsicles and stuff like that, like go back to the creamsicle, like you associate that with losing. Like those were a bunch of losers. I think when you are a franchise and you stumble onto an era where it's just associated with a bunch of winning, just stick with those colors. Like that's what people remember. Like stick with the colors that people remember you winning a lot of games. Like the Clippers, if they just stuck with the Doc Rivers era uniforms, like just the LAC, that kind of stuff, I would understand because I would associate that with some really good basketball and some really good teams. The Nets, if they had stuck with the gray, what like the late 90s and the finals team, you know what? I associate that with winning a lot of basketball games. I like that.
I associate ugly jerseys, ugly basketball, and they happen to win. But it was like all around.
You think those were ugly?
Yeah, I do. Like, okay. I'm sorry. I think the black and white.
Maybe it was a nostalgia thing for me that I just thought it was cool because I grew up on it.
I have a mug. I have several with like the old like 90s logos. Like, do I like all of them? No. It's for nostalgia's sake that you have it, right?
Yeah.
But like, but no, I thought those were bad. But I get what you mean. I think counterpoint. Why not just keep rocking them? And then when you have winning in those uniforms, you know, now you have a long legacy of those jerseys being used again and again. And so, it didn't work well for you in the mid 90s, you know, but hey, let's say 2028, whenever the Nets are good again. I don't know. Like it looks good for you know what I mean? Like we define them by these different modes. I get it, but like, I don't know. We're in such a craze where I feel like an old person shaking at the clouds. Like all these different new jerseys, we don't go back to the old stuff, you know? Like I get tired of seeing that whole, weren't the throwback jerseys cool? And they go that one picture in the bubble when it was Marc Gasol in the old school Raptors jersey and John Moran old school Grizzlies. Like it shouldn't be the one time in 4 years that we've seen that. You know, I think what the Timberwolves just did, going back to their old white and blue, early 90s Timberwolves logo and court, that's cool. Like, do stuff like that. Like, these new jerseys all the time ain't always it.
Right. They have to choose new jerseys every single year. And you hit the nail on the head with, I miss the early 2000s to where you had your current jersey, like where the Lakers at home were wearing gold. And then every once in a while, they'll go to the MPLS or they'll go to the former jerseys that are really in the team's history to where now like they'll remix an old school jersey and kind of mess it up a little bit. I cannot stand the Heat culture jerseys. I don't like the Bucks had the Cream City one.
I like those actually. Weird. I don't know why, but I thought those looked good. Y'all weren't a fan?
They feel like another team to me.
Yeah.
Like the blue. Like there's certain teams that don't, I don't know. It's like when Chicago is rocking red. I mean, not red, green. Sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say,
that was so weird.
Chicago red is iconic. My bad, but Chicago and green is like, what are we doing? Like,
when did they wear green? Like the Christmas Day?
2012, 2013. One of those years.
Did they really wear green?
Yeah,
they straight up did. I didn't like it. I thought it was weird. I think a lot of people did.
Oh my god, I forgot all about this.
Yep, you see it now, don't you? You like it, don't you?
This is terrible.
Exactly. Like, but that was the thing that happened. So, like,
remember you just used to complain that they wore jerseys? Like that was the big thing on NBA Twitter for years. We were just mad that they were wearing jerseys. Though. You what?
Yeah,
I still hate those the short sleeve ones.
God,
I still do too. I'm not playing. I mean, for the most part, I'm playing basketball like a jersey. I'm not really doing a shirt. You know, like it just isn't. I don't know. It was just weird. Again,
but it also gave me like one of my favorite basketball moments of all time of Steph pulling up from 1 billion feet and icing the Thunder in that black jersey. That was the anniversary of that was like, I think yesterday or something. It was this week one day. But that also made me feel old where I'm like, oh, that feels like I remember where I was like seeing that live. And like, I almost fell out of, I remember I was on a bar seat. I almost fell out of my chair cause I'm like the only person like locked in here. And I like looked over at a buddy and I was like, he's pulling up because you could just see like Steph's not passing this. They're just running this. And then just like, oh my God, 8 years. I mean, that flies by. Time flies by. And then you read another Klay Thompson quote, and you're just like, oh yeah, a lot of time has passed by. Klay Thompson's talking about retirement again. This is not great. I don't like any of this.
Man.
Corban, should the Lakers give LeBron James a multi-year contract extension this offseason? Because now it's out there. Multi-year extension is what LeBron's looking for. Do you think that's in the best interest of the Los Angeles Lakers at this point?
I mean, what has he shown to prove that he does? I'm just kidding. Yeah.
Hate hard tonight from Corban Ford. I love this.
I mean, as long as it's not that 2-year, $48 million Kobe deal, which, I mean, when I say that, obviously it's going to be more than that because of the whole thing in the NBA.
Right.
But I just mean the impact on the cap that it had. Like, that was just, that was rough. As long as it's not something crazy like that, why? Give the man what he wants. He's a Laker legend. And yeah, I said Laker legend. He's third all time in Laker 3-pointers made.
Is he really?
Yes, he is.
That's crazy.
Yes, he is. Right? Like, I'm looking up right now just to remember. But yeah, he's third. Like, I think it's Kobe and
Sasha.
No. Sasha. It's Kobe and Derek Fisher.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, Kobe has 1,827. Derek Fisher 846. LeBron has 754. LeBron could get another. LeBron's going to get another 100 threes. LeBron's going to pass Derek Fisher. So you saying in like 6 years in LA, you've already gone like up that much. That's one category. But I'm just saying, like, boom, like he's won a title with them. Like he's a Laker legend already. That's not even a crazy thing to really say. It sounds crazy to think about him. You're always going to associate him with Cleveland first, then Miami, or one of those two. But like, yeah, so if he wants that, he's still impactful going on 40. Like 25, 7 and 7, 25, 7 and 9 and 8, basically, on 52% from the field, 40% from three. For a 39-year-old man playing 35 minutes a night. Like, I'm sorry. He's no Klay Thompson, folks. I'm just kidding. No disrespect to Klay Thompson. But like, well, I'm just saying, like that, yeah, if he wants that, give it to him. I don't, even if he were to fall just straight off a cliff after this, which, LeBron's already pushed Father Time better. Like at this point, any other player at 39, 40 was a role player.
Mm-hmm.
Like they just were. Now, the quality of role player depends whether you were, a Karl Malone role player, John Stockton role player, or like a Kevin Willis role player, KG and Dirk Nowitzki, right? Like, it depends, but that's what you were. LeBron's still a star. So if you pay him these 2 years and he falls off a cliff and then he becomes Dirk, okay, and you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it just, I will say this is hilarious. It also shows how long LeBron's been in the NBA. He's played with LA more than he's played with Miami, obviously. So he's 11 seasons in Cleveland, 6 seasons in LA.
It doesn't feel
4
like
in
6 years.
Miami.
It really
Crazy. Get a 2-year extension, 11 in Cleveland, 8 in LA. And a 4-year massive footnote in Miami. Isn't that insane?
That's insane. It really is. It feels like yesterday. And by the way, while you were talking, I thought about this, though. Doesn't it feel like just yesterday that what Vince Carter was doing in his 20th year was incredible?
Yeah.
It does.
And now LeBron is like, man, it's wild.
Vince was good, man. Vince deserves a lot more credit for being able to adjust his game later in his career. Like, Vince is an all-time great, like, success story of a player aging and a supreme athletic player just aging as gracefully as Vince did. And also the narrative surrounding Vince just changing so much. Like, he became like one of the most beloved stars of his era. And that was not the case, especially in Orlando, where he was getting a lot of grief over what happened when he was the big trade for the Magic years and years ago. And then he was fun in Dallas. And then he hung around. He just kept reinventing himself. So I feel like Vince is like an all-time great success story, but an interesting long-term career.
He did extend it, yeah. I mean, he was a valuable role player, but like, do averaging like 5 points per game, which at 42, great. LeBron,
he was shooting 40+% from three in his later years. Like, Vince was, Vince could still shoot right now. You put Vince in there for 2 minutes a night.
Yeah, he always could.
Vince is hitting.
Well, here's the thing. I think Vince played so long, we forget. You could basically split his career in half. Half as a star, half as a role player.
Yeah.
But LeBron, I mean, he came to LA at age 34.
Yeah.
Like, that's like, we thought the twilight. We thought the twilight when he got there. And since then, age 34, he averaged what? I'm going to read it right now. 27 points per game, 25 at age 35, 25 at age 36, 30 at age 37, 28 at age 38, 25 at age 39. Like, if that's not a model of consistency, I don't know what to tell you. You know what I mean? Like, he's okay. Another funny thing. So we're just going to go LeBron. In Miami, over 4 seasons, he averaged 26 points per game, 6.5 rebounds, 7.5 assists. In Cleveland, over his 11 seasons, 27 points per game, 7 rebounds, 7 assists. in LA over 6 seasons, 27 points per game, 7 rebounds, 8 assists. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, dude, like, what are we doing? Give him his money. There's your answer.
Yeah. They got other stuff to figure out in LA. LeBron's
They
definitely not.
do.
Man, have y'all seen Spencer Dinwiddie out there?
I have not.
He's
seen
not
much
the
of him.
problem, but it's been bad.
He's not going to save the season, is what you're saying.
No.
Spencer Dinwiddie
He's
was
not
the
been
missing
been
piece.
great. I mean, I love the downhill that he gives the Lakers, that element, right? Another guy to put pressure on the rim. That's about it. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of thought he was cooked already. Like, it was a bigger name, the best free agent signing, and that's not saying a whole lot. This crop of buyout guys was not great. I mean, Mike Muscala joins the ranks. I'm sorry. So yeah, I agree with you. It's just not been super good.
Is it a failure though that LeBron only has 1 title in LA? Does that mean is this an all-time failure by the Lakers that we will look back on history and like, how did you only get 1? Because I think it's, unless something dramatic changes here, it's gonna be 1 for LeBron.
But here's the thing: 2020 they win.
Yeah.
Well, 2019 it was a team in flux, right? 2020 they win. 2021 you change the team, you go lean more into offense, you bring in Dennis Schroeder, you bring in Montrezl Harrell, right? You still play really well, but then you have unfortunate injury history in the playoffs, right? Or injury luck in the playoffs. You're out. AD goes down, LeBron's hampered. That's a wrap, right? That would have been to happen any year. 2022, you make the horrible Russ deal. That's a wash.
Yeah.
2023, you're undoing the Russ deal. You make a run to the Western Conference Finals. That's great, right? And here we are, 2024. Now, in the midst of this, you have had good competition all the way around. Like, the Lakers, obviously, 2022, 2023 is kind of a wash because by the time they got there, 2023, Denver was clearly better than them. 2022 missed it entirely. In 2021, that Phoenix team was good, but the Lakers weren't healthy. So it's a lot of what ifs. But I don't think you look and go, yeah, the Lakers had like this opportunity, this opportunity, this opportunity. Once they made that trade for Russ, they killed it. They just did. Like, once they, and I love Russ, but once they made the trade for Russ, not even getting Russ the player, but giving up the players they gave up to get him, they basically said, yeah, we're good. That one was great. Because now, I'm sorry.
Never made sense.
Never.
Sorry to cut you off.
No, please, Kenny, do. No, you're right.
Because like a LeBron type point guard is, and Kyrie is different because he's Kyrie, but LeBron needs a point guard who kind of a 3-and-D point guard in a sense, somebody who will kind of space the floor, play some defense. But if you have LeBron James on your team, he needs to have the ball and make all the decisions because he's just that smart of a player. You bring in Russell Westbrook, who doesn't shoot and doesn't defend, it's kind of a waste of time. So I never understood that move.
No. And it's also a big what if you just brought back Kyrie for those last 2 years. Like, if Kyrie was like, that's an interesting what if they had just
back in Cleveland, he probably never goes to LA. Yeah. You know, if Kyrie comes back, I mean, who knows? It's crazy. But like, as far as the Lakers there, it sucks, but they did to themselves, management, front office, and I guess to a lesser extent LeBron as well. I don't know how you looked at that team and said, yeah, it didn't even work in 2K. Like, there was no universe, fictional or otherwise, where that would have worked. But anyway, yeah. Give him his money. Give him the contract. You know,
you sound excited about
build
it.
Around him. Me?
Yeah, you're excited about it.
Listen, I'm just in a place where, like, here's the thing. I'm just not very Anthony Davis is a very good player. Great player, even, right? Top 75, should be all that stuff. I don't like handing him the keys. And when I say that the dude's 30 now, he's gonna be 31 next season. The key should have been his already. Like, we shouldn't still be. It shouldn't be as LeBron dependent. As great as LeBron is, it shouldn't be entirely dependent on LeBron. AD is just a very good 1B, like a very good 1B, and that's not great. Like, you're gonna pay LeBron, who's one thing I can definitely say for sure. Like, we're getting the healthiest season we've gotten from LeBron in a while. He's still playing injured with that ankle, right? His health is not going to miraculously get better over the last 2 years. It's actually steadily gotten worse, right? Since he's been to LA. Like, his first.
Isn't it interesting? They're kind of having twilight years in the same way that Kobe had him in LA, where you're not competing for titles, and it's just kind of like, we're just gonna ride this out, and we're gonna pay you, and you're gonna get your money, and then we're gonna be kind of screwed after you're gone. We don't really have a plan here.
That's kind of how it feels. I would say the difference is LeBron is still competing for playoff like spots, like like Kobe was competing for like 1765. Like, Kobe was nowhere close. Like, hopefully he can finish the game and not shoot 8 for 33. Like, I'm sorry, I watched those Kobe twilight years and they were awful. Like, the contract was awful to give to him, but then the production he was able to give, he declined like severely. Like LeBron, well, I don't think will decline like that, but I agree with you. I just think, like, even then you have a better infrastructure in place. What did the Lakers have? Jeremy Lin, Carlos Boozer.
Right.
You know, like what they
It's
have
tough.
to help Kobe. Exactly, because no free agent wanted to touch that because Kobe's still going to jack up the shots. Greg Monroe didn't want to play with them, using Greg Monroe as an example, but like Carmelo
Greg
didn't.
Monroe.
Well, that's
Ooh.
Laker fans. We went from going for LeBron back in 2014 to Melo to Greg Monroe. like we were hoping he'd be the center we needed. Craziness. But the point I'm trying to say is like Kobe, the type of player that Kobe was when he was younger, he'd get away with that. When he got older, it didn't. LeBron will still be that type of guy you could play with, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Although it is a certain type of player. But AD is the guy that they're paying the next most amount of money to. And he is a very, very good ancillary player. So I'm kind of worried about the future because who are you building around? Like, we're still building around LeBron.
I mean, I think you have to trade AD once LeBron retires. I think you have to start all the way over. Like, you can't just hand the key. Like, you just can't do that. You got to move on from both.
Lakers and their loyalty is different, though.
Like, I don't know.
Because you're right. I wouldn't have given AD the extension that he got. Like, I mean, he's a great player. I get it. But, like, I'm looking again. Who's taking the bridge? If you think the Lakers have been talking about them going after Trae Young in the offseason, Trae Young and AD? I'm sorry, no. It's nice. It's flashy. But, like,
who's the leader on that team?
Nobody. You'll have to.
Max Christie? No, I'm just kidding. But, like, yeah, I agree. I just don't know. Like, I'm just saying, I'm just not optimistic about the future of the long term. And sometimes I'll hop on Basketball GM or 2K and, like, simulate just to see, like, what's the options available? What's this and that? And each time I'm like, man, I can't do this. Excuse my French. Like, it's crazy. Like, I don't know. We'll see. But I think that us signing LeBron is great. It's a no-brainer. But given the situation Lakers are in right now in doing so, we're not signing LeBron to be like, hey, you're going to be a very good player who is old but can be like the LeBron of old. No, we're signing you with the expectation that you'll still be the same LeBron that you were when we signed you back in 2019. And that right there is scary to me.
Go Lakers. Kenny, speaking of the Lakers, a team that used to be a thorn in their side, and I don't think these fans are the biggest Lakers supporters on the planet. They're another fringe playoff team right now. Not as much publicity as it was last year. Doesn't feel very light the beamy this year, even though the Kings are having a pretty good year once again. But League Pass Team of the Week here. Why should the NBA casuals tune in to the Sacramento Kings, and what are you gathering from where they're at right now?
Because Domantas Sabonis is somewhere around 20 triple-doubles this season. So if you like all-around production, I'd go for that. And if you like a very efficient, getting it done with not very little opportunity, but outside of having players run for him, Keegan Murray is your guy. So Domantas Sabonis, Keegan Murray, obviously De'Aaron Fox is explosive, one of the best clutch players in the league. Malik Monk, much improved. Little bit of a different role this season. Well, he's still a six man, but now he has more opportunity on offense. He's doing a little more playmaking. He's getting up to the rim again, like he was in college. A lot of exciting dunks. The Sacramento Kings are a very fun team. Now, how far they'll get, I don't know. But they're a very fun team to watch in the very least. But matchup dependent, they may be out of here first, second round at the latest.
I think they're a guaranteed first round out, right? Like, who would you take? Who do you feel good about the Kings matchup? Like, who was like their best matchup in terms of like their personnel and who's realistic for them? Because I don't see it for anybody right now.
Well, looking at the top of the West, I don't think anybody. I don't think they're going to have a fighting chance at all if it's Minnesota or OKC.
Yeah.
Especially no, both of them, because you got Rudy Gobert, and in OKC you got Chet Holmgren, who can probably give Domantas Sabonis some problems defensively. And that just takes away all of what Sacramento does. So, yeah, it's going to be pretty tough for him.
What is De'Aaron Fox doing better this year? Has he plateaued, or is there's still other things that he's growing and getting better at?
I wouldn't say he's plateaued. I'd say Domantas Sabonis just having such a great year that they kind of have to ride with what he's doing right now.
And then they just kept Harrison Barnes. Like, there was all this smoke, and then Harrison Barnes does not get moved. They just feel like we talked about in the pod like a month ago, where it's like they need their Aaron Gordon. They need that person next to Domantas Sabonis. And Harrison Barnes still a good player, but they didn't make that move. And they just are kind of moving through this season, and just we'll see what happens. My guy Kevin Huerter over there and has played well this year, but I mean, I don't know. They just feel like they're still missing one piece to get back into that consistent top four in the West mode that they were in, because I think their offensive upside is still extremely high with this core, right?
Yeah, it is. But like you said, they have some questions. So they're not a complete team just yet. They're all one move away. Not moving Harrison Barnes, I don't understand, even though he was playing really well in the beginning of the season, but you knew that wasn't going to continue. But maybe it's just the market. There wasn't a lot of big names or big trades really done around the deadline. So I'm not sure what they really could have done.
It's true. Corban, are you a Kings guy right now? You a believer?
I mean, they got my guy Malik Monk. We should never let him go. He's still there. So no, I'm playing. I like
the one who got away.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he was one of those people. Unlike, I don't know who else do we have that got away that we should have kept. Lonnie Walker. That we should have signed him back. But like,
Malik I don't know. Monk, Lonnie Walker's bounced around. He's shooting the ball really well this year, but there's something there where Lonnie just keeps bouncing around.
We need him. Lonnie Walker, I think it can be inconsistent, and I think that's a big thing. But Lonnie Walker's also 25, you know. Yeah. But like, I get it. Like, you just think that he's one of those guys that we should have given him another shot. I thought he produced well for the Lakers. Malik Monk did. We knew it from the jump, but because we signed him on a make good deal, what we should have done was give him the 2-year contract they gave Damian Jones. Like, that was where we messed up because we gave Malik Monk to make good, and then he did, and Lakers couldn't do anything about it. Like, oh, great, wow, thanks. You know, like, we knew he was gone. We knew he was gone. There was no way he was coming back for what the Lakers should offer. Where if you put him on the Damian Jones contract, which you end up having to trade, didn't even make it out the year one of that deal, then maybe you have him in a year when you can then bring him back. You know, so stupidity. But yes, I'm a Kings guy. I think that they're fun. I think, like you said, like Kenny brought out, like De'Aaron Fox has played a lot better, and he has made improvements, strides in 3-point shooting and his leadership. You know, blending his speeds a little bit more. Obviously, DeMontis Sabonis is a triple-double machine. They have an array of shooters. Mike Brown has been playing some level of defense. So no, they're a very solid team. Like, this is the most competent Kings team we've seen in back-to-back seasons since the Mike Bibby, you know, Kevin Martin, and even before that, Mike Bibby, Brad Miller, you know, Mike Bibby, Chris
Bonzi
Webber, Aja, Bonzi, you know, like, again, Doug Christie, you know, like those guys. Like, this is the most competent team we've seen. Yeah, are they winning a championship? No. Are they competing for one necessarily deep? No. But like, they're a very good team and a tough out.
It's also funny too, like when teams break through, right? Like the Kings in their playoff streak a year ago. And then we're all like, awesome, light the beam. What a fun story. The Kings are still like somewhere, most of the season have been hovering around the middle portion of the West, like that 4, 5, 6 range, which is great that they're running it back and they're still a couple games removed, depending on how this, the back end of this season goes for them. But now they're not fun anymore. It's like they're going to go back-to-back playoff appearances. That's huge. They didn't go for 20 years. And we're just like, meh. We're just tossing like that meme of the Toy Story where like, I just don't want this play with this toy anywhere. Like the Kings got 1 year of everyone being like, this is so much fun. And they're not really all that different this year. But it's just, meh, we're good. We don't care anymore.
I think it's just the way they fell flat on their face in the playoffs. It kind of messed up people's expectations for them. We're not messed up, but they brought down to reality. And plus, it's kind of like it's like you said, like we've seen the movie already. Like once you watch a movie a second time, you still like it. I'm one of those people. I'll watch the same movie once a month, but it's not the same feeling.
Hold on, what movie are you watching once a month, Kenny? What give me some examples here.
I watch Life with Eddie Murphy and Martin like twice a month. Twice a month. I used to watch How High a whole bunch, but as I got older, the jokes don't really hit the same sometimes.
Okay.
But there's a few movies. I don't explore a whole lot with my movies. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Okay. Corban, do you do this? Are there some movies you watch once a month? Oh, you're muted.
I said, I'm like that with old NBA games. Like I'll put on like one to go. I don't know how many times I watched that Kobe Shaq, that Lakers Heat 2004 Christmas game, which was a very good game, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Like, you know, again, it just feels different. You're watching it for, I don't know. I can't explain. I'm weird. NBA sickos here, you know, but like
you're an ESPN classic guy. Like you like, hey, you
I have a YouTube
it's a finer
of
things
like
club
classic games I know are close. I can like watch if I want to like look at things more deep or not and just zonk out to go to bed. Like I'm one of those. Like, yeah. But no, as far as movies, I'm kind of weird on movies. Because like I do a lot of that, like basketball stuff too. So when I need to get a better balance. I watch like I like Coach Carter. Batman. The Batman was pretty dope. Batman Forever was an underrated Batman movie. I'm not really into horror is more what I'm into for movies mostly. I got all the Saws, like that sort of thing. I'm all over the place when it comes to the movies.
The new Saw was tough, man. I had to turn around. Like my wife and I saw that. And
Really? I thought it was
I'm not a gross guy. Like I can't. It's tough. I'm not
the pound of flesh trap, that was gross.
I mean, the whole thing. I have to turn away. Like I'm not gonna lie. I'm squeamish.
Nobody watches it with me. They all think I'm crazy for it. I'm like,
Can't do it.
like they all think I'm like some kind of sick. I'm like, listen, y'all, I'm just watching a movie. Like when this is done, I'm gonna go right back to the basketball I was watching. But if a side movie
But you're
comes
the kind
out,
of guy
yeah.
you want to be around when like crisis strikes, because you're not going to be phased. Like you're not going
Oh.
to faint if like someone just like their leg gets snapped in half in a basketball game and their
Well, it's
bones
like,
poking
after
out.
my-
You're gonna be like,
yeah.
I'm fine. Let's plug this thing back in. We're good to go. Like you're ready to go.
After my yeah, absolutely, exactly. Nah, it ain't phasing.
I'm not like that at all. Kenny, are you?
I
Like,
still can't- nah,
I'm
like,
fainting.
I'm not fainting, but the Gordon Hayward injury bothered me for weeks.
Oh my god.
And the
Yeah.
Kevin Ware in college.
That
Ooh,
one.
yes.
Yeah.
I was watching that one live. That was Kevin Ware one was
Same.
tough. I think I was actually, I was watching both live. Yeah, the Gordon one was bad, but the Kevin Ware one, I think.
Because the
That's
bone
a
was
good
out.
one.
It was disgusting.
It was pretty bad. There's a few of the bones that are weird for me. The blood, I'm not worried about. The bone, freaky stuff. Nah, you miss me with that. I still remember. Yeah, miss me with that. I'm not good with that.
I never
remember
would have
one
guessed this
time,
with you, man.
Football,
You're
high school, huh?
you're just totally unfair. I never
Nah.
guessed
Well,
that
there
with
was
you,
one time, like I said, I ruined my football career. One of my best friends, we were doing a football drill. We were both running backs,
man.
and he went first and got tackled awkwardly and put his leg up. And you know, you have the cleat and the socks coming up.
Uh-huh.
But the ankle was going around like one of the wheels on those spinny chairs.
Oh.
And like it was worse because you had to imagine it because the sock was over it. So I couldn't see, oh, that thing was broke. It was a compound fracture, broke in two different places at the ankle. But that thing was just wobbling around like the poltergeist. Like I was like, and I remember watching that and in my head someone, and I've never been into football like that since. Like
you were next in the drill.
I was next in the drill. Needless to say,
I'm like, nah, this is not gonna work for me.
No,
Yeah.
I did the whole. I tripped on my shoelace after I grabbed the ball, and we just kept it 100. Nah, I went right back to basketball.
Goodness gracious, I never had a bad. I mean, Kenny, have you had a bad basketball injury?
Nothing gruesome, but I did tear my quad.
Oof.
Ooh.
What is that
Yeah,
like?
that
What is
was-
that feeling like?
It's like, imagine like going days without being able to move your leg an inch without excruciating pain.
Yo,
It's tough.
okay, Kenny, we gotta talk about it. Okay, I'm sorry, we're going on an injury segment here.
No, it's okay. This is
Okay.
the injury portion.
When I tore my hamstring, Kenny,
Oh,
it was like that. But here's the thing: I was so stupid. So it was in college. We had a leadership retreat.
Mhm.
So I went to U of A. This is at ASU, and I wanted to play basketball so bad. It wasn't the curriculum to play basketball. We were doing this whole thing, but it was a court. We were there. Let's play. And your boy, I never stretched. I was like, let's go. We got a ball. We started playing. Literally like 2 minutes in, I grabbed the ball, went for a shot, and I used to get Charlie horses a lot when I was a kid. All the time, all through high school. And so, a lump goes in the back of your thigh. There's a bunch of ways to get rid of it, but two ways that really work well. One, your Gatorade or your salt water, drink a lot of that. The second, unconventional, punch it.
Oh yeah.
You put up and you punch it back into place. So I had a lump in my thigh, and I said, "Oh, this hurts. Like it's really bad. It's a Charlie horse. Can you punch it for me?" And I went around and had people punching that. I would go the biggest person I know. I'm like, obviously you're not strong. Like, can you punch my thigh? Like punching it. That day and the next 2 days, I couldn't sit. Like I literally was like in the leadership academy, laying on the floor because I didn't want to go home, but I couldn't sit on the chair because the lump was still there in my thigh. So I finally went to the doctor first day I could on Monday. And he's like, yeah, like it didn't take them long at all. It's like you tore your hamstring. I was like, oh. He's like, and there's a lot of bruising around the area. I'm like, yeah, I was going around asking people to punch my thigh. I thought it was a Charlie horse. He's like, at what point did you think you were ever going to go to the doctor? I was like, it didn't occur to me. But like, so when you said that, bro, I feel that. That was the stupidest injury next to when I broke my foot and didn't get it right healed because I thought I went high school basketball. Again, all these injuries there. Yeah. I went for a layup and I missed it. I was being a little bit extra and went to kick at the wall. But you know where the padding on the wall is?
Oh, yeah.
I missed the padding entirely.
Oh.
And just boom, right into the crack of the wall. And instantly, y'all saw Get Out?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I remember when the tears just ran down his face. Like he didn't even react. The tears just ran down. That was me. They were just rolling down my face. I didn't even cry. I didn't make a sound. They were just rolling down. And I remember trying to in my head, because my pops was on the side. I'm embarrassed. My mom there. I'm like, let me limp down the court and push somebody. They could push me back and I could blame this on them. I couldn't get down the court. I had to call a timeout for myself. And the break in my toe. And because I didn't let it heal right, because I didn't know it was broken, it still pops out every now and then. So these are the stupider injuries.
What do you mean pops out?
No,
toe pop out? What does that mean?
So I didn't actually go to the doctor. I didn't think it was broken. I thought I just like really injured it pretty bad. So I kept icing it for like weeks.
So just like disappear? What's happening here?
It just like dislocates. Like it'll like
Oh.
it's like a puzzle. Like sometimes I'll still play basketball, so I'll make a move or whatever, and it'll pop. Like and all of a sudden it's just like a lot of pain. And so you got like it's weird, but I gotta step on the toe and like get it back in. It's rough, but I mean, there's worse injuries out there. It's just the weirdest thing because the alternative is they break it again, and then it feels right. I'm good. I'm too old for that.
But the worst thing is like at that age, you still think it's cool to like play through injuries and not go to the doctor. You just make it so much worse.
Yeah. You in your head, you going, Kobe gutted it out. Kobe has doctors. You know, LeBron has doctors. Like they have the best money can buy. You have urgent care down the street. Like there's differences. You know, when you sick, they get to go to their cryo chamber, and you got your ginger ale and chicken soup.
Like not only was I trying to play through my torn quad, I was also going to the park and still playing, just being completely irresponsible.
Wait, you kept playing after the fact?
Yeah.
Oh, did you know it was torn though?
100%. I knew it was happening.
And you were like, "We just gonna game it." Wow, man, Kenny, that's a level up.
Stupid.
That's your flu game. It's your quad game. It's the quad games. Dang, bro.
How long does that take to heal torn quad?
I don't even know. It took me forever because obviously I wasn't taking care of it. So yeah, it took me forever.
You were like, chuck it, we ball.
What about you for the hamstring?
That took me, so it didn't heal right. So it's healed.
What healed right for you, Corban? Like, what part of your injury? What part of you has healed right here? Because I'm just like a lot of the body parts I'm hearing here. It's just all kinds of bad stories here.
I think it's the same as the quad. Like, it's not like when you play on that, like it's not going to be 100%. Like, it's some damage there. You know what I mean? So like, I don't see it often. I can't get up on my right leg as much as I could on my left. But I'm also now about to be 29. Like at the same time, I also like gravity. It's just what's going to happen anyway, right? Like. I'm not an Uber athlete. Like I'm just a normal dude playing basketball. And now what was funny is I would know because I would get so much higher on my left hand with the extension, and on my right hand it would almost feel like, okay, you see LeBron in these last couple of years sometimes when he goes up and the ball just flies, like he just kind of loses control because he expected to have more time than he actually does in the air now. Yeah. That's what it feels like on my right side. Well, at least it did. Like
it only gets worse with age here.
That's what I'm saying. So now I don't even know. Like some of it now is I don't play consistently, so I'll go to my right and I'm just not polished. It is just the ball goes flying. But back when I was playing, this happened. I was 19. It's like 2021. You would just tell when I went my right hand sometimes, like, oh, we going back down to earth real quick. Like we do not have the explosion on this like we do on the other. So that's the difference. But I'm telling you, it's funny when you are like we are. We cover basketball and we play at a certain level too, because okay, I'm very different from like these Uber athletes, but you also can take stock of yourself. Like, wow, I'm not what I was at 20, 21, 22. I'm not even what I was at, 24, like whatever the case may be. Like it's wild. You could tell what you're doing before your injury.
Well, I knew that actually in high school because I went to high school with T.Y. Hilton. So it's a very different level.
G. Carson was my guy. Yeah.
Yeah. So you see somebody that fast in person, and he played basketball too.
Yeah.
So when you see a point guard get the inbound and then you blink and he's laying the ball up, it's like I'm not him. I'm just not.
All right, Chief, I'm done.
I remember being 12 and just watching Lou Williams drop a casual 60 on my high school, and like watching Lou up close was like watching Michael. I imagine what it was like from like it. I will go to the grave saying Lou Williams is the best high school basketball player of all time. Like what Lou Williams high school tape. It's unbelievable. You have to watch Lou Williams in his prime, though. Lou Williams was pulling up from the half court logo and just draining stuff. It was ridiculous. Lou Williams I'm glad I got to see him in person growing up. Lou was something else, man.
Yeah, no, Lou Will something else. I think it's cool. Like you said, when you actually play some really like upper tier NBA. I mean, my guy, G. Carson, never made the NBA. Like I still think he should have declared in 2013 instead of going and trying to come back. But like I thought dude was gonna be in the NBA. Like I thought dude was gonna be in the NBA. Like he was that blazing fast, like that good. And I was on a court with him, wasn't even sticking him. And I had a chance to, and I just did one of those. I got caught on the screen, like like one of those things, because the dude was good like that, and like he didn't even make the NBA. Like that's what I mean. Like he's one of those guys to me, like top tier, and ACL injuries and stuff like that happen. But like it's so weird when you, like you said, Chase, or like you said, Kenny, when you like know people who are actually at that level. It may not be like huge up that level, but like wow, like that guy is good. You know, I think my claim to fame, in fact, when I did all this interviews and stuff, was the school had only been around for a year and a half. But y'all probably heard of it, AZ Compass Prep.
Mm-mm.
No, okay, well that's good. I was the first All-Star in AZ Compass Prep history, which is true.
Okay.
Like I'm not even making it up. It's hilarious because since then they've turned, like, I graduated, they got a new coach in, all of a sudden they're like this prep powerhouse. Like Ty Washington went there, and all these other NBA guys went there. It was funny. I was scouting them for something like 3 months ago, and I was over here like, you know, those memes where the guy in the corner is like, they don't even know who I am. Like, I'm just this random guy with a notepad looking at him going, I was a legend in these streets. Oh boy, craziness. I'm going off the rails. I'm sorry.
No, this is fun, man. That was funny.
It was.
Kenny, what's up with the Heat this week?
So they are, I think, still playing right now. But going into the night, they won 8 of their last 2. I think they had the number 1 defense in the NBA because they had, well, I don't know if everybody knows about, like, they had a 7-game losing streak. They had a film session where apparently, like, they say, what they say is stuff was said. And that's as far as they go with it. And then they came out and all the defensive lapses just disappeared. And so they've been locking teams down. They've held a bunch of teams under 100 in February. And so I don't know what's going on tonight because we started like around halftime. But they looked amazing. And DeLon Wright, he played his first game with the Heat last night. He deflects everything. So that's going to be fun.
I miss DeLon Wright, man. DeLon Wright was really good for the season in Atlanta. DeLon Wright, every team could use a DeLon Wright.
And every team he's played for, their fans say that. Like, I really miss DeLon Wright.
What's the rotation, do you think? Is anyone fall out with everyone coming back and the new faces in the fold? Is there a loser in this healthy version of the Heat?
I don't know. There was a point where it was clear it might be Josh Richardson, but then he went on a run where he couldn't miss a shot.
Yeah.
So I don't know anymore. I think some guys' minutes are going to get cut a little bit. Maybe DeLon Wright because he's new, but I can't look at a specific person right now and say they should or might be out of the rotation because everybody's been playing incredible.
I love it. Corban, what can the good folks check out from you all across the internet this week, sir?
This week's been kind of light. Check out Ramble. I should have a pod coming up here this week. And then I'm gonna do a mock draft dropping sometime next week, so that'll be a thing. Yeah, it's been a light week for sure. Hopefully some more collabs up here with y'all. So that's what's immediately coming down the pipeline. We got to gear up for the beginning of March and the home stretch of the NBA season. So we'll get some stuff popping for sure.
I love it. What about you, Kenny, over at Playoff Foul and everywhere else this week?
Yeah, so Playoff Foul, we've done 2 episodes since I've been on here last. The last one we put out, we looked into some of the most polarizing players in the NBA as far as fan and media perception, and kind of dove into their games and why we feel like they may be as polarizing. And the episode before, because it's me and guys I started with in my Miami Heat beat, so we did an episode, like I said before, we do 1 episode a month on an NBA legend, and we did a Dwayne Wade episode. And so if you've ever been curious about the perspective of, because everybody knows, or at least has an idea of how much Dwayne Wade means to Miami, and at least Miami sports. So if you've ever been curious about Miami Heat fans' perspectives, we all grew up in Miami idolizing Dwayne Wade. So we went through his career from that perspective. So it came out really interesting.
I love that. Go check it out. Subscribe today. Playoff Foul. Subscribe today. Roundball Ramble, and keep up with all the great work that Kenny and Corban are doing each and every day. Kenny, Corban, thank you as always, and I will talk to y'all next week.